Hello gamers, and welcome to another episode of Bloodline, where we examine what, if anything, makes a movie scary. I'm Jay Dayrit.
And I am Jordan Crucchiola. And this week we are talking about Silent Hill Revelation, which is based on the third game in the Silent Hill series. And it is the story of Sharon, aka Heather, and her father. They're on the run for, theoretically, a murder that her father committed a few states back, when really they're actually on the run from the fiery hellscape that is Silent Hill, trying to pull Heather back into its clutches, because she's very important to the cause of their existence.
Let me stop you there and ask you, Jordan, do you play video games?
Not since, like, Mario Kart 64.
Not since 1982 on an Atari console. So I don't know if we're qualified to review this movie,
Yeah.
but we're going to anyway, because that has never stopped us in the past.
No, let's just go for it. Video game horror. That's what we're dealing with this week, and here are the criteria that we have established what make that kind of movie. The first and foremost is an immersive world. You need to have a universe that gamers can recognize and feel like has been faithful to what they're following, and that also non-gamers can attach to and feel like is a really convincing space. And I think that they did a really good job with that in this movie.
The art direction was really consistent, really beautiful,
Yeah.
really well done. The creature effects were great, the movement, the choreography, just all of it looked really, really beautiful. And I think it kind of, maybe they spent too much time on how it looked and not enough time on how it played with character development and plot.
Yeah, it was like they took a pass on the fact that I think they knew it looked really good, and I think that they knew they had a good foundation to go off of from the game, because the first movie was creepy. They built up tension really well in the first one. There was better character development.
If you have stars like Sean Bean and Malcolm McDowell and Carrie-Anne Moss and Kit Harington, you'd expect this movie to be good, but they were just like phoning it in.
How can I find my dad?
Heather, help me.
Tell me where he is.
In the sanctuary, beneath the amusement park.
So number 2 is rules and limitations of that world.
Yes.
Kind of like sci-fi, like our colleague Adam Rogers says, in sci-fi you have to set the rules and set the limitations and stick to those rules and limitations, because if you don't, the world kind of falls apart, right? And in this, they kept interjecting the rules. Now you gotta go, like, here's the medallion, you gotta find the other medallion, you gotta go to this level, you gotta go to that level, you gotta, and it was, this pacing was so annoying after a while. It was like, scare, explanation, scare, explanation. It's like going to a friend's house and watching them play a video game. You're like, dude, you invited me over not to watch you play video games, but to chill out together. It's rude.
And okay, well, that I agree with you. And third criteria, a formidable hero or heroine who you want to pull for, who's either going to be smart enough to solve the puzzle or strong enough to kick some ass.
She was neither. She was so passive. She kind of just let things happen to her.
Yeah.
Oh, here's a mannequin arachnoid chasing me, and now here's something with Todd.
Where's my dad?
And
I want to find my dad.
Her weird like connection with her dad, like sitting on his lap like that. It's like, girl, you are too old to sit on your dad's lap
Yeah,
like that.
that was the like profile turn, like the waist
I was
grab.
like, this is the wrong kind of movie.
Yeah, it took a turn.
Well, number 1, when you transfer to a new school, don't alienate everybody by being rude and sullen.
Yeah.
Try to make a few friends that might notice when you go missing.
Number 2, stop doing meth. If you're having waking hallucinations where your high school main hallway turns into a red, burning like pit of despair and there's a creature coming at you, and then you snap out of it and you think it's like normal and not something you should talk to anybody about, then you should probably seek treatment.
Invest in a 99-cent GPS app on your phone. That way you won't take a wrong turn into hell.
Yeah. Number 4, don't go to Silent Hill. If your dad's telling you not to go, if your nightmares are the only thing telling you to go, if anybody on the street would basically tell you not to go, don't go to Silent Hill.
We're telling you, don't
go to Silent Hill. Hours of sleep lost. I shudder to ask. Jay, any?
I think I actually nodded off in the movie theater, so I gained a few hours of sleep. What about you?
I'm gonna say about an hour, because that's the amount of time it took me to drive to the theater and back and like park and stuff.
All right, video pick of the week based on the genre we just discussed. I'm gonna go with Resident Evil, the first one, only because Milla Jovovich is pretty.
100% agree. And I'm gonna say if you wanna go see a movie based on a video game, go see Wreck-It Ralph, Disney's wonderful tale of video game characters coming together, because the horror video game movie genre is pretty sparsely populated, and even more sparsely populated with movies I want you to go see.
Yeah, so go see Wreck-It Ralph.
Yeah. all is not lost. Silent Hill Revelation is not a wasted experience. There were definitely some artistic highlights that would be worth seeing on the big screen if you were a fan of the game.
The creepy nurses that like could only move when you were moving, so you kind of had to stay still, but you had to try to get away from them. That was a nice little catch there. That was a genuinely scary scene.
And a lot of the creatures were practically based. It wasn't like entirely CGI, computer generated, so you could see some really interesting human movements. And
beautiful.
in a way that if I was in front of that, it was happening to me, that was coming at me, it'd be really scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's it for this episode of Bloodline. Email us at bloodline@wired.com. Let us know what you think. Give us some recommendations for movies you would like us to see.
Yeah, and in the meantime, we will be back next week with another great selection. But remember, until then, it's just a movie.